Alright, let's crack open this rugged aluminum case. Here we go. Right on top, we've got the main unit itself and a comprehensive user manual. Then, the machine, a high-density ABS injection molded body, built tough and drop resistant. The nozzle is covered with a protective cap, and right next to it is the removable battery. Moving down, we have a precision metal ruler with dual scales in both centimeters and inches. Now let's go through the 4 core module accessories. First up, the conveyor module. Second, the laser module. Third, the pipe module. And fourth, the scanner module. Next is the ink cartridge, plus the narrow edge positioning module, which can be attached to any of the 4 main modules for added flexibility. Finally, we have the charging cable, a 4 GB USB drive, and the screws for the narrow edge module. Alright, that wraps up the unboxing. Now, let's dive into each component one by one, starting with the machine itself. Here's where the battery slots in, and the protective cap over the nozzle. And this right here is the battery. Let's jump into the features. First, we remove the cap to reveal the nozzle. It features an open source design, which means standard quick release compatibility with all 4 modules. The battery is detachable and has its own independent charging port, so you can charge it whether it's inside the machine or not. Now pop the battery in, long press the power button to boot it up. Just a moment. And we're in! The machine sports a high-definition color touchscreen with a fast refresh rate and snappy response. The UI is clean and intuitive. What you see is exactly what you get. Head into Settings and you'll find a bunch of thoughtful options to tweak. Language preference, print start, end beeps, touch click sounds, auto screen off time, all fully customizable to your liking. Next up, we have Image Manager. This lets you manage on-device images or import/export via USB. Then Font Management, same deal, but for your font library. And Template Management, where you manage all the templates saved in the editor. Below those, you'll find IME Management, cartridge settings, and print statistics. Now let's talk about the real game changer, print parameters. These settings directly affect your print output. You've got print delay, work mode, and over on the right, nozzle parameters with options like resolution ratio and gray level, so you can fine-tune on the fly depending on your scenario. Next, let's check out Edit the Core workspace for creating content. Tap Create New Template to reset your canvas and you'll get an Add Content pop-up where you can add whatever you need. Or you can close it and use other methods like Template. Then there's Panel Setup, which includes width, height, and segmentation. We'll skip preview for now, since we haven't loaded the ink cartridge yet. Finally, let's give editing a try. Unlike other machines, this one delivers a super smooth editing experience. The screen is highly responsive and accurate, dragging is effortless, and you've got alignment, copy, plus undo, redo, which solves a ton of those tiny but annoying headaches. And here's the kicker, there's a brand new editing interface. Tap into it, and wow, it's even cleaner and more streamlined. You can freehand draw, add images, insert text, drag, resize, change fonts, and it even has undo, redo built in. It's basically a mini Photoshop. Oops! Don't forget to hit save in the top right corner, otherwise your work won't carry over to the main editing screen. Alright, that covers the full walkthrough of the main unit. One final pro tip. Even though we haven't put in the ink cartridge yet, make it a habit to always pop the protective cap back on after each use. It keeps dust out and protects the nozzle. Alright, back to it. We've covered the machine, now let's talk about the ink cartridge. Let's get it loaded into the printer. First, remove the protective cap from the cartridge. Then, press the cartridge compartment release button on the back of the machine. The door pops open, revealing the slot. Here's the key part. Align the cartridge's ink outlet with the nozzle, insert it at a 45-degree angle, and slide it gently all the way in. Once it's seated, press down firmly on the ribbed area at the back of the cartridge. You'll hear a click and the machine will beep, which means the cartridge is successfully installed. Let's double check, tap preview, and see if the ink cartridge not recognized window pops up. If it doesn't, you're good to go. Now, let's put it to the test time for some real printing. We'll start with the content we just edited. Squeeze the trigger and boom, effortless. The print comes out crisp and clear, and the quick dry ink sets in almost instantly. Try it a few more times. Super smooth, no issues. Let's switch things up. Double tap the content area at the top of the screen to jump straight into the edit interface. This time, let's use a built-in template from Template. Pick the one with a barcode and QR code, then hit Start. Give it another go. Same sharp results. Run it a few more times. Perfect every time. Now, let's check out the extra features in Preview. You can adjust gray level right there. Let's try it. still crystal clear, and you'll notice a bigger ink volume makes a real difference. Alright, that wraps up our printing demo. Since we're using quick dry ink, make it a habit to always put the protective cap back on after each use. This keeps the ink from drying out in the nozzle. And if you know you won't be using it for a while, it's best to remove the cartridge and cap it separately for extra protection. Welcome back. Let's start with this, a Type-C dual-head charging cable that can charge both the machine and the battery. But now, let's dive into the real star of this segment, the 4 GB USB drive. Just a moment ago, I copied 2 fun memes onto it. Let's put them to the test. First up, we install the ink cartridge into the machine as usual. Done. Then, flip open the dust cover at the back of the unit to reveal the charging port. And the USB port, plug the drive right in. Good, the USB is connected. Now, tap Add Content and try adding an image. You've got 2 options. You can replace the current image directly with one from the USB, or go into Image Manager, import the image to the device first, and then select it from there. Let's go with the second method. Import both pictures from the USB. Scroll to the bottom of the image list, and there they are. Let's pick the first one. Black and white distribution looks natural. Exactly what you see is what you get. Run it again. No issues. Now add the second one as well, same deal. Alright, time to print. Oops! Forgot to adjust the grey level back down. When the grey level is high, the ink output is heavier, so you'll need to move the machine a bit slower during printing. Okay, let's try again. Perfect, still crisp and clear. Now, let's test the direct replacement method. Just swap the image directly from the USB, keep the drive plugged in for that. Choose image 2, add it, and try again. Works flawlessly. Since we've already imported the images into Image Manager, we can safely remove the USB now. That wraps up the USB segment. Last but not least, Don't forget to put the protective cap back on the machine before you wrap up. Welcome back! Next up, let's take a look at this big guy, a black metal positioning ruler. It's going to be a real game changer when it comes to precise printing. We call this the printing positioning plate. It features dual scales 12 centimeters and 5 inches and a rectangular cutout in the center, specifically designed so the printer's nozzle can pass right through for accurate alignment. See? Once you place the machine on top, the nozzle sits perfectly flush with the cutout, no gap, no guesswork. Now let's put it to the test. Take a look at this sheet of paper. It's covered in scattered text and images. If we want to print right in that blank gap, this ruler is exactly what we need. Let's create a new canvas. Then pick a template from Template, this one with a barcode and QR code, to simulate a real-world scenario. Place the printing positioning plate over the paper. Align the cutout with the blank area, then line up the machine's nozzle with the top left corner of the ruler. Squeeze the trigger, print. Perfect, no overlap with the surrounding text or graphics. Let's try another spot. Position the ruler, align the machine, print. Clean and precise again. One more time. And one more time, every single shot lands right on target. That's the quick demo of the printing positioning plate. Simple, effective, and super handy. And as always, don't forget to put the protective cap back on when you're done. Welcome back! We've already covered the printing positioning plate. Now, it's time to introduce something that truly changes the game, the open source nozzle design, which allows for standard quick release compatibility with all 4 modules. Let's start with the first one, the conveyor module. Let's take a closer look at this conveyor module. It's also made of high-density ABS injection molding, with rollers on both sides to ensure the machine can still glide smoothly during print, no drag, no resistance. Now check the top and bottom of the module. Both feature snap-fit slots that keep the module securely locked onto the machine's nozzle. And that silver screw right there, that's the highly sensitive photoelectric sensor. Here's the sensor head. Now, let's get it ready for installation. First, unscrew the nut. Insert the screw into the module's pre-drilled hole, then screw the nut back on to secure the sensor. Once that's done, you can mount the module onto the machine. The sensor height can be fine-tuned at any time by simply turning the nut. Super handy. Alright, let's pop off the protective cap. Installing the module works just like putting the cap back on. First, hook the top of the module into place. Then press the bottom firmly until you hear a click. The machine will beep. The screen will show buckle inserted, and a small module icon will appear in the top right corner. That means the module is successfully installed and recognized. Now let's move on to the actual demo. Since we can't replicate a real conveyor belt setup here in the studio, I'll show some real-world footage later in the video. Okay, open the preview interface and switch work mode from button mode to assembly line mode. Then we need to increase print delay a bit because the sensor sits at a distance from the nozzle, so we need to factor in that extra travel time. Done. Now let's try print. Handheld operation is slightly different from a real conveyor line, but if we switch angles, you'll see the sensor detects the wooden board, the little red light at the end of the sensor lights up, and print kicks in automatically. Throughout this whole process, I never pulled the trigger or did anything else, just moved the machine and let the sensor do its job. Now let's take a look at the actual conveyor belt setup in action. These are real-world clips of the conveyor module running on an actual production line. And that wraps up the conveyor module segment. Same rule as always, don't forget to put the protective cap back on when you're done. Welcome back. This time, we're moving on to the second module, the laser module. As the name suggests, the laser module adds a laser guideline to the printer. With this, you never have to second guess the nozzle position or worry about print alignment again. The laser shows you exactly where it's going to land. Installation is the same as before. Pop off the protective cap and snap the laser module into place using the same method. Okay, the laser beam is on. Let's dim the lights a bit so you can see it more clearly. Now, place the machine on a flat surface. The bright red line is highly visible and perfectly traces the upcoming print path. Let's give it a try. Print right into that narrow gap on our messy paper. Check it out, the laser beam extends quite far, so you're totally covered even when printing really long content. Spot on! If you're not using the printing positioning plate, the laser module is absolutely your best backup. Now let's explore another handy use case. By default, this machine's horizontal section is set to 12.7 millimeters. But if you need to print a QR code, text or graphic that's larger than 12.7 millimeters, the laser module can really step in. Tap Horizontal Section Setup on the top right corner of the screen and bump it up to 25.4 millimeters, which is exactly double 12.7 millimeters. You'll see the editing canvas height double as well. Pull your graphic down, then add another image. Everything you add now is sized for 25.4 millimeters. Once the print content exceeds 12.7 millimeters in height, the machine will automatically split it into multiple passes. You'll need to pull the trigger twice. That's where the laser module becomes your best friend for vertical alignment. First, print the top half, then the bottom half. And there you have it. The final print is exactly twice as tall as before. It's a clever solution for those times when you need to print large text or graphics. And as always, don't forget to put the protective cap back on when you're done. Back to it. Now it's time for the third module, the pipe module. Don't let its simple look fool you. This little guy packs a punch. First, let me show you what happens when you try to print on a pipe without it. See that? Slippery, unsteady, bouncing up and down. The print result wanders all over the place, and the nozzle just won't stay aligned with the pipe. Frustrating, to say the least. Now, let's snap the pipe module on and give it a real shot. Okay, it's on. Bring the pipe over and line it up. Notice how the rollers on both sides of the pipe module protrude clearly and can be adjusted up or down. So we set the roller position according to the pipe's diameter. Once that's dialed in, the machine glides across the pipe smoothly, with no unwanted vertical movement, and the nozzle stays locked right in front of the pipe. Time to print. Smooth as butter. Let's run it a few more times. Flawless every time. Now let's switch to a thicker pipe and readjust the rollers. Oops, looks like the rollers weren't set quite right. Still a bit of slip. A couple more tries and there we go. Locked in. Easy as pie. Next, we swap to a metal pipe with even less friction, trickier to keep steady, more prone to sliding. Adjust the rollers according to the new diameter. and print. Easy. Try it again. Still perfect. Don't let the smooth demo fool you without this module. I can't even imagine trying to aim and print on a pipe without wobbling. This small pipe module absolutely nails one of the biggest headaches in pipe printing. And as always, don't forget to put the protective cap back on when you're done. This time, we finally get to the fourth module, the scanner module. The first three modules all helped us solve the question of how to print more accurately, but the fourth module, it answers a different one, how to print faster. The scanner module, a module designed to quickly grab existing barcodes and QR codes. In warehouse logging, inventory tracking, or document scanning, you no longer have to manually type in the content, just scan it and it's copied straight into the machine. Huge time saver. All right, let's mount it and put it to work. First, head into Edit and create a new barcode and a new QR code. Then, go to Preview, and here's the key part. Tap the small icon in the top right corner and the data binding interface pops up. Notice that because we just created two codes, each one has a 1 underneath it in the window. Select the one under the barcode first, you'll see the barcode turn blue, which means it's now in binding mode and ready to be replaced by whatever you scan. I've got a product box with a barcode on it. Point the module's camera at the barcode, then long press the trigger, a red beam sweeps across, indicating it's scanning. Once you hear the beep, take a look. The original barcode has been replaced with the one from the product box. Then print it out spot on, exactly the same code. Now swap to another barcode. Same routine. Aim, long press, and it's replaced. Print it, no issues at all. Next up, let's try a QR code. Open data binding again, highlight the 1 under the QR code and uncheck the barcode's 1. Aim, long press, and print. Done. Now, let's lift the camera higher and see if we can scan a QR code from a distance. Still works, no problem. Alright, that wraps up the scanner module. One thing to keep in mind in the hustle of a busy warehouse, it's easy to forget, but the protective cap is a must. After scanning and printing, just snap it back on, and your machine will be ready to go the next time. Don't let ink dry out in the nozzle, because that'll take way longer to fix than any scan. Welcome back. This time, we're covering the last add-on module, the narrow edge module, along with the 4 screws that come with it. Why do we call it an add-on? Because it can't be used on its own. It has to be paired with one of the 4 main modules we've already introduced. These 4 screws are what attach the narrow edge module to those modules. I'll use the pipe module for this demo. Notice the 4 small gold holes at each corner of the module. That's where the narrow edge module mounts. Let's install it. there it's on. To make things clearer, I've grabbed a rectangular metal box to simulate an outdoor or similar real-world object. Place the module onto it, and by loosening or tightening the screws, you can adjust the narrow edge module's position until it fits snugly. Perfect, just the right size. Let's first see how the machine performs on this metal box without the module. Pretty obvious the surface is too slippery and you have zero control over the print process. Now let's mount the module with the narrow edge module attached back onto the machine. Lock it in top and bottom. Print. Smooth. Hassle-free. Run it a few more times, still spot on. If the object you're printing on is very small, just loosen the screws, shrink the gap down, and adjust it to whatever size you need. Alright, that's it. We've gone through every module, every accessory, and every feature from start to finish. From cracking open that aluminum case, loading the ink cartridge, plugging in the USB drive, and trying out the printing positioning plate, all the way through the four main modules: conveyor module, laser module, pipe module, scanner module, and finally, that surprisingly flexible narrow edge module. So, what's the biggest takeaway after all that? Simply put, this machine is genuinely different from most others out there. Some competitors give you a screen, a nozzle, and a cartridge, and that's it. But this one goes much further. The hardware is solid high-density ABS body, high refresh touchscreen, standard quick-release design, photoelectric sensors, laser guidelines, adjustable rollers, a detachable battery with its own charging port. Every detail is built to last. The software is just as flexible. Image manager, font management, template management, print parameters, and that editing interface that practically feels like a mini Photoshop. Alignment, copy, undo, redo, you name it, it's there. What really sets it apart, though, is the attention to detail. The printing positioning plate solves alignment headaches. The laser module gives you a visual guide. The pipe module tames slippery pipes. The scanner module copies existing barcodes in seconds. And the narrow edge module even handles tiny objects that others just ignore. A lot of pain points that competing products never bother to address, this one fixes them all. And it doesn't stop there. The open source quick release design means more modules and more features are coming down the road. You're not just buying a tool for today, you're buying a tool that grows with you. So, if you're looking for a handheld inkjet printer that actually works, doesn't give you headaches, and can handle just about any scenario, this is the one you need. And as always, no matter how smoothly it runs, remember to snap the protective cap back on when you're done. Good habits beat any module. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.